Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. Guys, so Mr. Jake Paul is fighting Tyron Woodley. You know, Jake Paul's made some bizarre comments about wanting to fight Canelo. And I made a video about this before, that it's all good Jake Paul, you know, talking about being a professional fighter, being a professional boxer. But I think a lot of boxing fans don't seem to like Jake Paul. I don't really have a problem with the guy, to be honest. I'm a hardcore boxing fan. I actually think the guy's great. You know, the guy, he talks. To be honest, I don't know why people are so angry towards him. You know, he's entitled to do this, to get involved in the sport. He's got a huge name. He's bringing his own fans to the sport. And if you don't want to watch him, you don't have to. I'm certainly going to watch him. I think personally, I think he'll beat Tyron Woodley. I think Woodley's, you know, not a boxer. He's a UFC fighter, and he's old. And Jake Paul's young, hungry. He wants to learn, and I feel he wants to do something in the sport. People say, well, you know, he's a silver spoon kid or whatever, but the fact of the matter is that he's built everything himself. He's got himself into this position himself, and he's getting in the ring and he's fighting. Now, people say he's not fighting a proper boxer though. Slowly. And Jake Paul made a great point. Look at who Muhammad Ali fought in his first 3 fights. Look who Floyd Mayweather fought in his first 3 fights. So why are people expecting me with no amateur experience, not much experience at all, to fight like great fighters back, you know, straight away? You know, the fact of the matter is he's fighting lower level guys just like every professional fighter does. But I don't think I think the end goal for me is not really realistic. Even if he was to say the end goal was to win some kind of title, but to say that I want to fight Canelo and I know I can beat Canelo, I don't think that's realistic. Especially at this point, I understand everyone's got goals, right? Everyone's got goals. And maybe in Jake Paul's head, that's what he wants to do. I just don't think it's a realistic thing to say when you haven't got much amateur experience. You know, I think it's a way off. I think it's kind of, it'll come across as quite delusional. And one thing boxing fans are, they're very unforgiving, especially when they think you're talking delusional, or that you're talking about one of their greats in boxing, and you're trying to say you're going to fight him, this, that, and the other. Boxing fans, they don't seem to like it. They'll start trolling you. You'll start to become hated amongst the hardcore boxing fans. I'm a little bit more open-minded in the sense that I want to see how his career plays out. Because at the end of the day, what's to say that Jake Paul won't have what's a successful career in boxing? Successful career, is it a guy that gets a title level? What's a successful career? There's no guidance. Most boxing fans seem to think a guy that goes on to become world champion has had a successful career. Sometimes you might be in the right place at the right time. Charles Martin became a world champion, but there's guys that had a much better career than Charles Martin that didn't become world champion. They didn't get that status of being a world champion, but yet their careers were really good and they were unlucky. You know, maybe they were in the wrong era. Maybe they were in a division that was stacked with great talent. So for me, I think Jake Paul, I think we need to give him time. I need to give Jake Paul time. Let's see how he develops. Let's see how good he becomes, because he does seem hungry. He does seem somebody that wants to learn, and I think he's being progressed at the right pace. I think he's moving at the right pace. I think the opponents that he's fighting are giving him confidence back to back. So, to be honest with you, I personally don't have a problem with him fighting Tyron Woodley. I actually think it's a good fight. You know, Woodley's definitely a step up from what he's fought in Ben Askren. And then I'm pretty sure after that, he's going to step up again. So I think, again, we need to give Jake Paul time. Who knows what this guy can go on to achieve? Just because you don't like the fact that a guy that's a YouTuber's coming in. That doesn't mean just because he's not come through the traditional route that he can't get anywhere in boxing. That's just because he's a guy from another field doesn't mean that if he was to dedicate his life to boxing, right, that he can't get. Remember, Joshua, when did he start boxing? Very late. And look at what he went on to achieve. There's nothing to say. And by the way, Jake Paul's big, he's strong, and he's athletic. So there's nothing to say that he won't be able to become a decent level boxer. I'm not saying going on to become a world champion, but he may be able to hold himself, become a decent, maybe a top 30 guy. You know, even that's impressive for a guy with such limited experience. You know, so I think we need to give the guy time. I don't know why people are so critical and, oh, you know, this guy's a joke. Like, what? Why? Just let him, give him some time. Yeah, he may not be everybody's cup of tea in the way he acts and stuff, but at the end of the day, there's nothing to say that he can't go on to become a decent level boxer. You know? And the way he's being progressed, for me, is perfect. Now, I'm pretty sure the next fight will be against a boxer. Maybe an old name boxer. I don't know. Because that's, for me, he's stepping up every time. He first fought a YouTuber, then he fought a basketball player, then he fought a MMA fighter. Now he's fighting an MMA fighter that's a bit better. I'm pretty sure the next one is going to be a boxer. And then slowly, as he gains confidence, as he gains momentum, you're going to see him start stepping it up. It's just that when he starts calling out Canelo, you know, I think that, for me, is a little bit far-fetched because he's going to need ages and a lot of building before he's like, I don't think he'll get anywhere near that level, you know, to be honest with you. I think it's going to take him ages, but again, we've got to see how he develops. Who knows where Jake Paul can go? Who knows where Jake Paul, how far he can take, how far this story goes to? You know, we just don't know. We need to give the guy time and let's see how he develops. But I feel like people are writing him off just because they don't like the fact that he's not come through the traditional route, through the Olympics and stuff. Give him time. Give him time. You know, there's nothing to say that Jake Paul can't go on to become a good fighter. You know, fighters aren't, you know, from the sky. You know, they're human beings just like us. You know, and they get good at it by training, by spending more of their time training, getting better at their craft. So if Jake Paul was to do that, there's nothing to say that he can't become good at it. Like I said, he's a young, strong, athletic kid. You know, so what's to say that he can't make it big time? You know, so I expect him to beat Tyron Woodley, and I think he'll stop Tyron Woodley. I think it's a good step up for him, and I think it's a good fight. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good. I think it's a good move for Tyron Woodley. I mean, sorry, for both guys actually. Tyron Woodley's going to get a huge payday. Jake Paul's going to get a huge payday, and it's a step in the right direction. But I don't think. I think when Jake Paul starts talking about Canelo, I think he's just saying that for attention, you know, to get people riled up, get people interested in him, get him to people to watch him. And listen, at the end of the day, there's a saying, no press is bad press. So by him saying that, there's going to be a lot more people that want to see him get knocked out by Tyron Woodley. So there's going to be a lot more people buying the pay-per-view, tuning in to see him fight. And that's the goal. You know, so to be honest with you, let's see how far Jake Paul goes. In terms of him calling out Canelo, that's not realistic. Because, let's be honest, he's going to need a lot of experience. And there's nothing to say that he's even going to get to that level. Now, there's a difference between a gold medalist that comes out and says, oh, one day I'm going to fight Canelo. Even people may laugh at that. But at least a gold medalist has come from, you know, he's just won a gold medal. He's one of the best in that weight division. So if he was to say one day I'm going to fight Canelo, it's more realistic. But this is a guy with no boxing experience. You know, so far he's been fighting basketball players and not even boxers. So for him to say that I'm going to fight Canelo one day, it comes across as delusional. It comes across as crazy. But at the end of the day, we have to give the guy time because we don't know how far this kid's going to go. And like I said, he's hungry. He's determined. He wants to succeed. He wants to get better. He wants to prove that he's a top fighter. And he's putting in the work. And let's be honest, this guy's got money as well, where he can dedicate himself to boxing. You know, he's not like when you've got kids coming up in boxing, they haven't got the money. You know, this guy, money's not an issue. So he can get the best sparring partners in. He can get the best coaches in. He can get all of that and pay them because money's not an issue. So he's not exactly fighting. Of course he's fighting for money. It's a great side income for him, but that's not his only thing. You know, he's a social media influencer, like a YouTube sensation. So, you know, money's not really an issue. He's got something else that even if boxing doesn't work out, he's got something else that he can fall back on, you know? So, for me, I just want to see how his career unfolds. I'm interested, man. I'm interested because how do you know how good this guy's going to become? If this guy goes on to become a challenger for a world title, just say, I'm not saying he will, just say he does. Are you going to say you're not going to be interested just because of the background he comes from in terms of YouTube? What's that got to do with it? Like I said, fighters don't fall from the skies, you know. They're human beings that train and get better at their craft and they become great fighters. So there's nothing to say that Jake Paul, if he dedicates himself, can't get to that level. That's just my opinion. But leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys. By the way, I expect Jake Paul to beat Tyron Woodley. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.